Okay, let's get started.
Ghosts are real. That much I know.
Hey horror freaks, welcome back to my channel. My name is Samantha. As you can see from the title, today's video is going to be a list of Christmas and winter horror movies that you can enjoy this month. Now, I usually just do films that are correlated to Christmas, but this time I wanted to include films that are set during winter but that they are not connected to Christmas. So this list is going to have 5 horror films that are set during Christmas and 5 winter horror films, because I wanted to bring something a little bit different since I don't want to do the same list over and over every year. So giving that quick and little disclaimer, let's get quickly into the video. I'm starting this list with the Christmas horror classic Black Christmas. We have the one from 1974, the one from 2006, and the one from 2019. Essentially, all of them, they follow the same plot, that is a killer that is terrorizing and killing sisters in a sorority during the Christmas break. But it's up to you which one you want to watch. I will suggest either watching the original or the one from 2006, since a common opinion is that the one from 2019 is the worst one, and I'm gonna have to kind of agree. I'm including it on the list because it's part of these films, but honestly it's a film that I have only watched once and I intend to keep it that way. The one on the list is Silent Night, Deadly Night. This film from 1984 follows Billy that witnessed his parents being brutally murdered by Santa. Years later, when he has to fill in from an accent in-store Santa Claus, his childhood trauma materializes once again. This is an 80s film in all his glory. So if you enjoy that type of films, maybe you're going to like this one if you haven't watched it already. This film has a whole franchise and we even have some remakes, but for the sake of the list, I'm just going to be including this one. The third film is Gremlins, also from 1984. This one follows Billy Putzler that is given a strange but adorable pet name that is Gizmo for Christmas, but he unreturnably breaks the rules of carrying it and unleashes a horde of mischievous gremlins on a small town. Now, for some people, Gremlins is not a Christmas film. I do disagree a lot. And there's also people that believe that the film is not horror. I understand that, but definitely for me, it's a comedy horror. It's not 100% horror, but definitely has some horror elements on it. So of course, it has to be included on the list. The next one on the list is P2 from 2007. This one follows a businesswoman that finds herself locked with an unhinged security guard in a parking garage after getting stuck working on Christmas Eve. This one is one of my favorites. I kind of believe that this one is a little bit underrated. I feel that we don't talk enough about this one. It's not a masterpiece by any means, but definitely is enjoyable. So if you're into this type of horror, if you have never watched it, of course, now you have a recommendation. And the last one in the list of Christmas horror films, we have Krampus from 2015. This horror comedy is based on the ancient legend about a pagan creature who punishes children on Christmas. I truly believe that this one is a fun watch, although it's not excellent by any means, but it's those type of films that they are bad, but they are fun to watch. So I believe that it's worth giving it a chance if you have not watched it already. Getting into the winter horror films, the first one is The Thing by John Carpenter. This one follows American scientists' research in Antarctica that are disturbed at the base camp by a helicopter shooting a sled dog. When they take in the dog, it brutally attacks both human and cannons in the camp, and they discover that the beast can assume the shape of its victims. This one for me is an 80s classic. It's a type of horror film that definitely you should watch at least once. You don't need to like it, but definitely you should watch it. The practical effects are exceptionally good, especially for the time. So if you have not watched this one already, you should include it in the list. Now, there is a prequel that came out back in 2011, but I'm just going to skip that since, in my opinion, that one is not worth watching. The second one in the winter horror films, we have A Mystery. This one follows the novelist Paul Sheldon that crashes his car on a snowy Colorado road. He is found by Annie Wilkins, the #1 fan of Paul's heroine Mystery Chastain. Annie is also somewhat unstable, and Paul finds himself crippled, drugged, and at her mercy. Katie Bates as Annie, it's amazing. She truly portrays her as the psychotic villain that she is. This is one of my favorite Stephen King's adaptations. He has a lot, but this one, I think that we can say there's one of the best ones, and it's definitely worth watching. This one is one that I like watching just in general, not just during the Christmas/winter season. So if you have not watched this one already, you definitely should. Trust me on that one. Is worth watching. Coming next on the list, we have 30 Days of Night. This one follows the story of an isolated Alaska town that is plunged into darkness for a month each year when their sun sinks below the horizon. As the last rays of light fade, the town is attacked by a bloodthirsty gang of vampires bent on an uninterrupted orgy of destruction. This one is not a masterpiece by any means, but it's a fun watch. If you like vampires, maybe you're going to like this one. Of course, it's very bloody. The end is kind of tragic, but I definitely believe that it's worth watching. It's a film that I used to watch a lot when I was a kid, and I still like it. Maybe that's why, because we usually like films that we used to watch when we were kids, and the sense of judgment basically didn't exist. But I still like it. This one, I know, doesn't have that very good reviews, but I'm including it because it's a personal favorite. I also want to include in the list Let the Right One In or the remake Let Me In. Now, both the original and the remake are equally good in my opinion, so it doesn't matter which one you decide to watch. Both films basically follow a bully young boy that befriends a young female vampire who lives in secrecy with her guardian. This one, it's a very good story. It's pretty interesting, and I think that is well made since it's based on a book. And like I said, both the original and the remake are equally good. This is something that doesn't happen that often, so let's take advantage of that. If you want to watch both and do a compare and contrast, that's something that you can do also. It's something that I like to do. Since the original is not American, it really brings a perspective. Since, of course, every country does horror differently, but at least we can say that the American remake can be considered as good as the original, so that's something positive. And the last one on the list is The Lodge. This psychological horror film follows a soon-to-be stepmom that is snowed in with her fiance, 2 children at a remote holiday village. Just as relations begin to dawn between the trio, some strange and frightening events takes place. This psychological horror is sort of a slow burn. If this is not your type of horror, maybe you're not going to like this one at all. If you do, this is a must-watch. It's a recommendation. Because this one, it's one that I just watched it last year and I truly liked it because I remember reading about it, but sometimes people tend to overhype modern horror films, especially this type of horror, so I thought maybe it's not as good as people are saying, but I was wrong. At least I do believe that it's very good, that it's definitely worth watching. So like once again, if this is your type of horror, obviously, or you want to get yourself into, maybe you can try with this one. And with this, we end the video. It's a very short list, but I have both lists, Christmas and winter. They are both available on my Letterboxd profile. I'm going to be leaving the links down below in case they do want to see more, because of course we have way more horror films that are correlated to Christmas and that they are also set during the winter. But if I were to say each one of them, I will be here talking for a long time, and I don't want to bore any one of you. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know down below which one is your must watch for Christmas season. For me are Black Christmas and P2. I really like P2 and Black Christmas. I'm a fan of the remake from 2006. I know that there's many people that does not like it. When you compare it to the original, of course, they are not equally as good. But I still do believe that the one from 2006 is a fun watch. Like I said, 2019, we can act like that doesn't exist. Like, you can skip it. Trust me on that one, unless curiosity kills the cat. But you have been warned. But well, thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to see you guys on my next video.
Ghosts are real. That much I know.